Why Sierra Leone struggles to produce good leadership and good policies. 1. Leadership is treated as rescue, not responsibility. In Sierra Leone, leadership is widely imagined as salvation from above, not capacity from within. Citizens ask who will save the nation instead of how the nation should behave. Politics becomes messianic. Leaders are expected to fix what society refuses to discipline. This creates hero worship, not accountability. Result: leaders are overloaded with unrealistic expectations and underchecked by civic standards. 2. Political culture. Rewards, loyalty, over competence. Policy quality depends on who designs it and why. In Sierra Leone, political appointments reward party loyalty, ethnic alignment, or personal allegiance. Expertise is often secondary to obedience. Independent thinkers are perceived as the threats, not assets. Result: policies are poorly designed, weakly implemented, and easily abandoned when power shifts. 3. Institutions are weak because society does not defend them. Institutions do not collapse on their own. They are allowed to collapse. Laws exist, but enforcement is selective. Rules are strong on paper and weak in practice. Citizens often bypass institutions for favors, shortcuts, or patrons. Result: leaders learn quickly that impunity is tolerated, so policy becomes performative. 4. Trauma as normalized survival politics. Sierra Leone's history, slave trade, colonial extraction, civil war, has left deep collective trauma. This produces short-term thinking, fear-driven decision-making. Politics of revenge rather than repair traumatize societies, prioritize control over competence and loyalty over truth. Result: policies focus on holding power rather than building systems. 5. Education produces credentials, not civic leadership. The education system emphasizes certificates over character, rote learning over critical thinking, silence over civic courage. Very few are trained to question authority responsibly, design evidence-based policy, balance ethics with power. Result: elites may be educated, but they are not institutionally mature. 6. The elite mass disconnect corrupts policy. Logic policy is often designed above society, not within it. Urban elites speak the language of reform. Rural and informal communities live the consequences without ownership. Policies lack cultural grounding and local legitimacy. Result: good-sounding policies fail at implementation. 7. Elections are overloaded. With meaning, elections are treated as the solution to everything, but elections can only choose leaders, not transform culture. When political culture remains unchanged, new leaders inherit old behaviors, new policies reproduce old incentives. Result: cycles of hope, disappointment, and cynicism. The core diagnosis, plainly stated: Sierra Leone does not lack intelligent people. It does not lack laws. It does not lack plans. It lacks a leadership culture. And without a leadership culture, good leaders are isolated, good policies are sabotaged, bad behavior becomes normalized.
Hello, testing, testing. Okay, now I think I have voice. Sorry, I don't even know how long I've been silent. As I was saying, do we understand our purpose of being here as a race? Do we know the value of living together as a collective? I'm asking these questions because following what was discussed on Friday, if I'm to repeat myself in summary, leadership cannot grow where silence is safer than people having the courage to say the truth and stand for the truth. In Sierra Leone, a lot is happening in that country, but irrespective of whatever is happening, everything is broken in Sierra Leone. That's the first thing we have to accept. Sierra Leone is a broken state. It may not be a failed state as yet, but it's broken. It's broken. Nothing is working in that country. Nothing. How did we get here? Sign up. He did not do it alone. He did not. He may have been at the front of what is happening now, but he did not do it alone. He first did it actively or passively. There are a lot of us who, because we're out in the diaspora, maybe we're earning some income, we have electricity, we have water, we may afford certain luxuries, are not to be business, let them try it. Or, okay, and then as we they want, that we self send money, that they recognize we, so that we self go on. Now, everything that is happening in Sierra Leone is pointing to one fact. We don't know who we are, and we don't know how to live together. These are the hard facts. Whether it is out of trauma or out of selfishness and greed or out of ego, it's left to be proven. But we don't know who we are. Because if we know who we are, you may not have in a political party close to 40 people vying for one office. And they funnily think that's what democracy is. Not democracy. To divide your mentality, to polarize your mentality is not part of democracy. It is part of autocracy. It's either me or nobody. That's autocracy. It's me and what I say and what I think or nobody else. That's autocracy. So for those of you think having several candidates, dividing a singular group into clans, they have their trumpet blowers all over the place. That's not democracy, that's autocracy. Each of you are autocrats wanting to take advantage. And in the process, you are inflicting self-destruction on yourselves. So tell me, the All People's Congress Party, as it is a deeply divided party. The Sierra Leone People's Party is preparing itself for a turbulence that may lead to a very serious crisis. Because The majority of the people in the top echelons of the Sierra Leone People's Party believe in the warlike mentality, the farmer political culture. May God save Sierra Leone. Those who are more peaceful have a plethora of intending candidates. Those who are not peaceful are also having a plethora of intending candidates. Sanity has run away from Sierra Leone. Honestly, sanity has run away. And we need to be saying these things. We need to. I don't have to be at State House to say what is right or do what is right. Like I said, leadership is not a vacancy. It is everybody's duty to learn and behave as a leader. Learning and behaving as a leader means, first and foremost, we recognize that everything is not about me alone. Secondly, we recognize that the collective has more strength than the unit. And thirdly, we have to take example from the fact that alone we cannot do it all. If alone we could have done it all, Long John Silver on Treasure Island would have been the greatest man on earth. He had everything with him, but he was alone. Within a short time, he became haggard and wretched because he was alone. And this is the path Sierra Leone is going down, the Long John Silver path. Everybody wants to be leader. Everybody wants to be head of state. For what? Kibono. To what end? Can't we have one leader and have somebody who is ready to listen? Can't we have one leader, somebody who is ready to work with different advices for the greater good? Why is it that everybody thinks they know how to do it best? We think how to do it best. Why is the country as it is? Why? Because everybody saying they will solve the problem of Sierra Leone had the capacity to solve the problem, they would have started solving the problem. If not by way of action, but by way of recommendations. Some of us will spend our time, we research, we come here, we talk, we make certain recommendations. You don't listen to us, but you say you know how to make the country. Well, let's see how you can make the country. If development was a magical process, then there would have been no poverty on earth. Everybody would have been developed. It's not a magical process. It's not cadabra. It's a structured process that demands several heads and several hands. And I'm sure we've heard many hands make light work. Many heads make greater thinking. Lee Iacocca, who was at one time president of Ford Motor Company in the United States, and who also sometime in the late 70s, I believe, ran for presidency, wrote a book in which he said, working with people as a leader, your duty is to listen to everybody, take from what they say, and make the master brain. Master brain. He came up with the concept of the master brain factor. Lee Iacocca. But in Africa, and especially in Sierra Leone, we have that mentality of destroying the master brain. Onego me, what you think say Sabi pass we? Who are you? You have to watch it. Since 1961, when we had independence, for a brief period between 1970 and 1980, it seemed like things were beginning to work in Sierra Leone. Then suddenly, everything collapsed overnight. After that collapse, we went to a stupid war. Because it's a stupid war, not because I don't know the reason for the war, but because we had no business going to war. The reasons for the war are what have been reinforced today. And I see us heading for another crisis period. Maybe by the time that crisis comes, some of us would have been dead and gone. We don't know. Maybe it would happen in the next few months. We don't know. But we are headed for a crisis. And then we always go about fooling ourselves. We are the Athens of West Africa. People who are Athens of West Africa should have the intellectual and emotional maturity to behave as brave people, not cowards. Brave people don't go to war. Brave people sit down and negotiate, even on issues that may lead to war. Cowards go to war. Because the only way a coward can defend himself is to use physical force. That's what is happening globally. Do you think people are afraid of Donald Trump? They are not. But it tells us that the majority of the people dealing with him are not cowards. So they are taking time to prevent anything that may lead to a crisis. But in Sierra Leone, we take fun in creating crisis because we believe that silencing people is the best way to be a leader. When you silence people, you create the environment for underground turbulences that will one day explode. Let people be. Allow free speech. Allow freedom of conscience. Allow opposition. There is opposition, there is blackmail, there is defamation. When somebody blackmails you or defames you, you have a right to take action. So when somebody says, what you are doing is not right, take it in good faith. If you cannot take it in good faith, then don't criticize anybody. Because one thing I've seen, people who do all the wrong things take all the pleasure describing what others are doing wrong. And another thing we should notice that when people come to talk about other people, 80% of what they say about those people is about themselves, their own faults and their own weaknesses. And this is what we've taken into politics in Sierra Leone. Now, we are taking bold steps to be the last things that are holding us together. The war destroyed the social psyche of society, but we will manage to keep some level of legal and ethical standards. Now, that's what we are destroying. That is what exactly is being destroyed at this material moment. But people don't pay attention. They focus Madabio and Escoma. This. Can we please begin to learn to see things and understand them? The thought of what is going on in Sierra Leone is bigger than all the things we talk in social media, because people don't pay attention to the issues. They pay attention to the results. There are cause effects. What we pay attention to is the effect, the results. We don't look at the cause because we don't care to learn. We only care to blame. And blaming and complaining is part of the cause itself. Nobody wants to take responsibility. It's the next man that is always wrong. It's part of the cause. Nobody wants to accept that what is going on is not good for all of us. It's part of the cause. When you point it out, you are the unwanted. Well, the fact is, right? People that have made a difference in this world, all the people that have contributed to changing the affairs of men at the time they did those things, they were unwanted by society. They were. The human race hardly learns. We hardly learn from experience because we have some inbuilt program of self-destruction in us. Maybe. I don't know. It's something that needs to be researched. Maybe we have a program of self-destruction in us. Maybe we need to look at social systems. We need to look at parenting systems. We need to look at the educational systems and come up with solutions that will create a better race of human beings in the future. But everything that we've been operating around seems to have failed. Because even religion cannot help us to think straight. The role of religion is not about getting the recognition of some father sitting in heaven waiting to receive us when we die. The first and primary role of religion is to teach us those values that will allow us to live together in peace. But as it is, there is no peace. Everything seems to be going topsy-turvy. Now we are hearing about constitutional review. I am hoping to see the document before I talk about it, because I want to do some comparative analysis. I wouldn't make any statement about that until I get to see the document. Even if it's the draft bill, I'll look at it, then I'll be able to have a point of reference to make my analysis. We ought to be doing better. We ought to be doing better. For those of you up there, you think what you have is luxury, it's comfort. It's not. Comfort is not material. Happiness is not material. Real happiness comes from a satisfaction of achievement. The poorest man on earth can be happy when something has been done by him that makes a difference. That achievement makes him feel happy. If no man a village, you know, they try for making trap. The trap not they work. They do he make a way work. They feel happy. The achievement for him. If that man a village, they don't try for Fenway for making water well, they're able to get clean water faster. They're not able. The day we do that, they feel happy. Happiness is only when you've done something that has impacted the lives of others. Because when that man making trap, not only one, it impact in family. So the rest. That trap, they impact the village. When that man making water well, it impact in family, it impact in village. So he gets happiness, the satisfaction of having contributed to the collective. That's happiness. But when you think happiness is about you twisting your face, killing people, doing bad man, then the next day you steal as much as you like, you ride private jet, that's not happiness. That's a form of psychological slavery. You have it all, but you are not happy. It's psychological slavery. And our people have proverbs about this. In all the languages, they have proverbs about this. Real happiness is when you create an environment for you to understand others and others understand you. Communication. So silencing people breaks that chain. Breaking that chain, you make not only yourself, but the whole society unhappy. Now they have index of happiness. I don't know where Sierra Leone stands. Let me see, global index of happiness. We have to take care of each other. You people go to church, you go to the mosques, they tell you you have to be your brother's keeper. Islam tells you about Jamaat and Zakat, being your brother's keeper. It does not mean you should go and steal money to come and give to people. Every time you come with 10, 20 bags of rice, that's an insult. What you should be doing is, if you have the capacity, the intellectual capacity, if you have the economic capacity, work with others, let them have a way they can improve on themselves so they will live as individuals in the collective. When you do that, you get happiness. But if you say you can only do it because you want to use the people, you get kicks, not happiness. You get kicks, not happiness. There is a lot we need to look at and examine so we can change from who we are. Because who we are at this material moment is not good for all of us. It's not. Some of us find it difficult to go back to Sierra Leone because we think we are not safe. Some of you in Sierra Leone find it difficult to move out of Sierra Leone because you are not safe coming out here. Some of you are known all over the world, blacklisted. When you take a jet to come to any part, you'll be arrested. Even with our man at State House, with now the office, then they respect. When the office done, and I go see what thing will happen. At the office, then they respect. Well, of course, thank God we don't get one man of the respect office. They don't go kidnap one of Venezuela. So, God help you. Look for change in Sierra Leone. If we not change, nobody they can change yonder. We are not babies to be babysat by the world. We are a nation of grown-ups, of old people, of children. And the grown-ups should behave like grown-ups, not children. waiting to be babysat, doing every kind of rubbish, believing that we get here, that we get it wrong, now we they run things. Things not they run we. People are sick in your heads, honestly. Sickness not to pass the belly and the body, even the head can sick. I get for try in a salon. The world they change. Look at us, 146th in the ranking of happiness out of 147 countries. As if I knew that last year, 146th position out of 147. Because of this mentality we'll get, this warlord mentality, bullying mentality. If not to me, they all think well. Well, we'll not try there. All think they camp well. Because very soon, external aid and assistance is going to be cut off. Mark my words. If they give money now, Seth, in the next coming 5 years, then they give them with special rope tied to it. A dictation of what you have to do, how you have to do it. If you are not careful, whoever gives you the money is the one going to do it, like China is doing. When the Chinese give you loan, they go there and do the job themselves. Then you pay them for that. That's where we're coming to. Because of this very simple social psychological crisis that we have. The fact that we don't respect each other's integrity. The fact that we're all bullies, wanting to outshine others. That's why when we talk all the time, it's I, my foot. If God wanted I to be alone on earth, he would have made one man and leave him here. But he knew that the collective is what affects change. And that's why he said, let us, for those of you who are Christians, he said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. Muslims, you're told, the angels came, they assisted God, they baked clay, and after they baked the clay, God put a breath of himself into the clay and said, he's happy about what he has made. He told the angels to bow down to this creation because part of him is in it. Tells you a load of message that we have to be conscious of, that we have to respect the divinity in others. Every human being with a life has a divinity in him, the breath of life. Every human being with life is an image and likeness of God. But yet, we've allowed ourselves in Sierra Leone to be blinded by some need that we have never achieved. Honestly, these people still in state funds today. If there is a change of government tomorrow, they will run away, leave all those houses they have built, begin to tell people there is property at Wilberforce, property at Madongo, property at this for sale. People, how long gonna go they plan this Arata life? How long? Who told you life has to be lived that way? Here today, gone tomorrow. Every time you are in stress and crisis, maybe it's the trauma that is in us. We have to find a way to heal. We have to find a way to heal. And some of us are ready to assist to find that way. Because if we don't, it's going to be tough in the near future. The world is going in a different direction. What we know is dead and gone. The world we know is past, it's dead and gone. We are coming to a new age that will be controlled basically by technology. And the funny side of it is, some of you people who make all this noise about wanting to be this or be that, you don't know a thing about technology. You don't even make the slightest effort to learn. Ordinary use of computer, most of you don't know, but you want to be head of state. You are not even fit to be the underfoot of a state. Honestly, with this present world that is coming, you are not even fit to be the skin under the foot of a state. For grow up in a salon. That country is being taken to another crisis. And see, don't for una face when they build the crisis for ourselves. When they participate in the crisis. Whether they declare flag bearership, whether they declare belt bearership, whether they declare Ngicha bearership, we have to sober up. And what is the way to the future? If you have some answers, some of the answers, some answers, sit together and let us have a discussion. Let us sit together and have a discussion. Let us sit together and have an engagement. Let us sit together, put our egos down, because that's our biggest crisis. Put our egos down, listen to each other, desiderata. It's unfortunate we don't learn in Sierra Leone. Desiderata. The poem was the last music played on the national radio station in Sierra Leone from 1960s up to 1990s. Last music at midnight. The music that says, go placidly. Go placidly. Listen to the dull and stupid. They too have a voice. You know, I can say all the education who they boast about in Sierra Leone will not sabi nothing. People think say na insult, not to insult. Education is not about going to get a job and making money. There are people who have never gone to Western school. They are very rich. Yes, they are very rich. They are in the billion range. There are people who have all those monies, but because they lack certain training or experiences, they have a lot of crisis. Education is a way to create a balance between you, your environment, and the world at large. It gives you the ability to see, perceive, and understand things better. But in Sierra Leone, we have taken it as the maxim, the measure of access to loot the state. And I'm sure most of us claiming to be educated, there is lots to be desired in us, in our perceptions, in our beliefs, in our attitudes. There is lots to be desired. We have to wake up in Sierra Leone. We have to stand up. Today, I will not go too far because I'm still having this flu and what. But before I go, to play this music again. I want us to listen to it carefully. Let's be patient, please.
Centers by 5. We the wait for savior every 5-year time. New face, same talk, same fear, now we mind. Them say keep quiet, make peace remain. But silence don't bury truth again. Fear don't dress like sense and law. Power no they see on floor. We clap for force, we bow for name. Forget say leadership start inside, we break. Run 7 integrity, slip from we hands. Waiting we gain, we no understand. If we sell truth for we comfort zone, body go free, but we souls don't die. There no be leadership, integrity no power. Silence no be peace, truth go louder. From farmer go months away, power must answer. We no go bow again, integrity forever. There no be leadership, integrity no power. Silence no be peace, truth go louder. From farmer go months away, power must answer. We no go bow again, integrity forever. Party don't turn religion sign. Ask question them say you cross line. Our own force no matter wrong. Dogma sweet but truth strong. Leader they rule with the fear inside. Nation they live na eyesight. Instead for heal with trauma pain. Them they control again. Them teach we for boss small hide we voices. Survivor me you no get choice. But mama them no say silence they won't. Truth where them love go still find room. I no need crown for stand up right. I no need fear for know my rights. If power blind me conscience I. Nation cry but woman reply. Others pass, sacks expressive. Power we fear question, no fit build nation. Respects no they come by shouts. Na truth we bring them out. Fear no be leadership, integrity no power. Silence no be peace, truth go louder. From farmer go months away, power must answer. We talk about guy king, integrity forever. Fear don't dress like sense and law. Power no they see on floor. We clap for force, we bow for name. Forget say leadership start inside, we brave. Forget say leadership start inside, we brave. Drums, kicky snare, turn up beats. If integrity slip from we hands, waiting we gain, we no understand. If we sell truth for we comfort zone, body go free, but we souls don't die. Fear no be leadership, integrity na power. Silence no be peace, truth go louder. From farmer go man's away, power must answer. We no go bow again, integrity forever. Fear no be leadership, integrity na power. Silence no be peace, truth go louder. From farmer go man's away, power must answer. We know they beg again, integrity forever. Party don't turn religion sign. Ask question them say you cross line. Our own force no matter wrong. Dogma sweet but truth strong. Leader they do it if you're inside. Nation they live na your eyesight. Instead for heal with trauma pain. Them they con.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Honestly, I am still feeling down from this flu. As soon as you know, I get me cup of concussion why they use for cure. I know go tell you now what you did. You don't want to send request, I will show you. But it's a medicine that is very effective and it's a simple fruit that we use all the time. We will see on Wednesday. God willing. And I hope
Why Sierra Leone struggles to produce good leadership and good policies. 1. Leadership is treated as rescue, not responsibility. In Sierra Leone, leadership is widely imagined as salvation from above, not capacity from within. Citizens ask who will save the nation instead of how the nation should behave. Politics becomes messianic. Leaders are expected to fix what society refuses to discipline. This creates hero worship, not accountability. Result: leaders are overloaded with unrealistic expectations and underchecked by civic standards. 2. Political culture, rewards, loyalty over competence. Policy quality depends on who designs it and why. In Sierra Leone, political appointments reward party loyalty, ethnic alignment, or personal allegiance. Expertise is often secondary to obedience. Independent thinkers are perceived as the threats, not assets. Result: policies are poorly designed, weakly implemented, and easily abandoned when power shifts. 3. Institutions are weak because society does not defend them. Institutions do not collapse on their own. They are allowed to collapse. Laws exist, but enforcement is selective. Rules are strong on paper and weak in practice. Citizens often bypass institutions for favors, shortcuts, or patrons. Result: leaders learn quickly that impunity is tolerated, so policy becomes performative. 4. Trauma as normalized survival politics. Sierra Leone's history, slave trade, colonial extraction, civil war, has left deep collective trauma. This produces short-term thinking, fear-driven decision-making. Politics of revenge rather than repair traumatize societies, prioritize control over competence and loyalty over truth. Result: policies focus on holding power rather than building systems. 5. Education produces credentials, not civic leadership. The education system emphasizes certificates over character, rote learning over critical thinking, silence over civic courage. Very few are trained to question authority responsibly, design evidence-based policy, balance ethics with power. Result: elites may be educated, but they are not institutionally mature. 6. The elite mass disconnect corrupts policy. Logic policy is often designed above society, not within it. Urban elites speak the language of reform. Rural and informal communities live the consequences without ownership. Policies lack cultural grounding and local legitimacy. Result: good-sounding policies fail at implementation. 7. Elections are overloaded. With meaning, elections are treated as the solution to everything. But elections can only choose leaders, not transform culture. When political culture remains unchanged, new leaders inherit old behaviors, new policies reproduce old incentives. Result: cycles of hope, disappointment, and cynicism. The core diagnosis, plainly stated: Sierra Leone does not lack intelligent people. It does not lack laws. It does not lack plans. It lacks a leadership culture. And without a leadership culture, good leaders are isolated, good policies are sabotaged, bad behavior becomes normalized.